So I'm Samir Kamerakar. I am a computer engineer by education. I've been a software engineer all my career, and I'm a coach at heart. I love to talk and teach. So keep me on a tight time schedule. Your boards I will be looking for. Uh, Currently, I'm working as an engineering director, running the toolchains and runtimes mission at Canonical. I also mentored under the brand name of Charchoros Mentoring, Career Development, Leadership, Executive Coaching. And I also am a founder of a women's football club here in Karnataka called KEM Football Club. And I see a few heads looking up from their mobile phones. So good. I'm glad I put that line in there. And we participate in all the three divisions of Karnataka State's football leagues. Why I'm here today is to talk about how we are consciously trying to make Ubuntu a developer desktop. Ubuntu is already the number one Linux desktop distribution according to multiple sources. This is not something that Canonical claims. This is something that other people have done surveys, taken a look at participants, what they use, their preferences. And as a Linux desktop, Ubuntu is number one, no competition. In fact, it has more than majority share. Certain surveys put it at 56, 57%, and some surveys even put it more than 60%. I've shared some sources from where this claim is picked up. Ubuntu is also the most used operating system in the cloud. Now, this one I'm saying most used, not number one, because no cloud provider provides exact data of how many instances of which OS. But again, based on the OpenLogic State of Open Source report, which is one of the biggest surveys conducted every year about open source ecosystem, Ubuntu has been the most used US. Microsoft or Azure is the only provider who has specifically claimed in one of their blogs that Ubuntu powers more mission critical workloads on Azure than any other open system or any other operating system. And we really appreciate that, stating that coming from Microsoft, who have been always looked at the evil closed world of Windows, but they have recently under Satya Nadella really pivoted and are really working a lot more to support Linux and support open source. So yeah, it's general desktop. It is the best one. It is good OS in cloud. But what about developers? Is it really a good desktop for actual application developers? So before I answer that, I want to check a bit of audience pulse. Oh, and yeah, I mean, it does. 10 years ago, if you wanted to know what is the best developer desktop, you would go ask Google. Today, you ask our new friend ChatGPT, and ChatGPT does say that if you're especially looking for a desktop OS for cloud native development, your choice should be Ubuntu. But is it really great for developers? I am, of course, going to say that, and I'm glad to hear that somebody else also said that from the audience. But my reason for being here and giving this talk to actually get that validation and get that feedback from those developers in the audience, no matter what language you're developing. So let's try this. Okay. This should have changed to a QR code. Okay, we don't have good internet, just as we went for it. Is it Wi-Fi or direct? Just Ethernet. Oh, I think it's connected with. Yeah, it is presenting from Google Drive, so it should be connected. Okay. But it's not work. All right. Show of hands, our good old traditional method. How many of you are, how do I go back? How many of you are Python developers? About a dozen. And you can raise your hand multiple times. How many of you are Rust developers? 1, 2, 3. Nice. 4. How many of you are Golang developers? A bit Golang. Yeah. There you go. Nice. Okay. And now, how many of you are .NET developers? Zero. I expected a little more here in India. And okay, now last but not the least, how many of you are or have been Java developers? Okay. How many of you are here but are not developers, not application developers? Okay, good mates. All right. I'm sorry to keep you from lunch. This is really going to be developer focused. And then, how many of you already use Ubuntu as your daily driver OS on your laptop? From 20 years. So there we go, right from the beginning. Thank you, Bharat. How many of you use Mac OS? Few. Okay, those are my targets. And how many of you use Windows? Those should be easy converts. Let's. All right. So why Ubuntu now for developers, right? Previously on Ubuntu or any Linux desktop, if you wanted to install and use Spring Boot, there was a manual installation process where you would download tar files or zip files, extract them, find an install.txt in that extraction, and then follow the manual instructions from that. Good old days. Good old days, yeah. Very few people would call them good old days, but I hear you. This is how easy it is to not only get JDK, but your Spring stuff, as well as two other variants of JDK. Ubuntu now has the default OpenJDK, of course, but also has OpenJDK Crack. CRAC is checkpoint restored in user space, and Crack is a sub-project of the OpenJDK main project, which is working on providing snapshot restore-based fast startup for Java. All the Java developers here would be familiar that our JVMs take some time to what we proudly call warm up, and then we get the peak performance, whereas Crack aims to give you the peak performance right from the beginning. And again, GraalVM JDK, which is the native compilation branch of Java, rather than interpreting your application, GraalVM would compile it to native code directly and give you an executable application binary. So all of this can be installed simply in these 4 commands. There aren't any .NET developers, so I wouldn't go much into that. But that one also we have improved. And all these other languages are default supported from the default package manager APT, and you can get secure updates for each of these just with these simple APT commands. The major difference we have made now, and again, Bhavi is going to say, we are Linux developers, so we don't need documentation. We will figure stuff out with man pages. But if I want to bring application developers to Ubuntu, I need this. So we now have specifically Ubuntu for developers documentation. It has tutorials, it has how-to guides on installing and setting up your development environment, and also tutorials on how to develop. If you're a new developer, you're learning a new language, it is now much easier in Ubuntu because you have a lot more access to documentation, example projects, etc. on Ubuntu itself. So there are these tutorials for each of the tool chains and also for the specific flavors, like native compiling with GraalVM, then checkpoint restore with OpenJDK Crack. So this was what I wanted to tell you. But I want to spend more time in this presentation on, as developers, what are your problems when you try to develop on Ubuntu or generally on any Linux platform. So now is the time, if you have any specific feedback or questions, to let me know. If not, if everybody's hungry, we'll just go for lunch.
As I shared one thing, on the community perspective from past 20 years, right? Oh, well, and we have something like in TB, they have Python group, they have Java group, they have everything, right? So, and we have something like that in Ubuntu.
It will come. It will come. I mean, honestly, when I joined 3 years ago, I realized that Ubuntu's focus is Linux developers proper, not application developers. And that's what I'm trying to change. So those groups and communities will come.
Basically, it's the focus groups. Like ideal, you have that, right? You have the package manager.
Absolutely.
But particularly focused on particular Python electronics or whatever.
Yes, definitely.
So the same thing, it becomes to Ubuntu. That's very good actually.
That will be one of my OKRs and hold me to it. Thank you, Mark. Anybody else? Yes, please.
Hey, so my primary operating system is either Ubuntu or Debian in most cases. Sometimes I will have to develop something that has to run on Windows as well. So do you plan to support cross-compile? Sometimes it's simple as Golang. Sometimes I do have to use C++ for development. So in such cases, you plan to have cross-compile such capabilities.
So for GCC or CC++ cross compilation packages are already available. We will be adding them soon as the demand rises. LLVM, we are already hearing that they should be ready to use LLVM cross compiling toolchains. So we are figuring that out. But yeah, it will have to be a community demand. Yeah.
Have Kubrish any of the byte coding? You have integration with any of the byte coding tools?
Existing, no, because most of them are just through browser as well. Right? But VS Code is the one we are targeting as an opinionated one. And JetBrains is the other one we are targeting. And that's where we'll be filling in such gaps. Anyone else? Yeah. Says,
he asked about the teams, and you said that you're planning. So you're planning for the teams for Python, Ruby, or thumb test. So, as a code dev, do I need to join all the different teams for uploading those packages, or can I just support? Because like in Debian, we don't normally upload to other teams packages others and a part of that team.
no, you don't need to join the team technically. I don't think Launchpad will prevent you if you are a coder. If you're a coder, you are a god. You can do, well, demigod should above your archive AdSense. It will be your preference. If you're going to do one language, a lot more packages want to support that team, then you should. If you're going to do them as the requests come on your queue, then you don't need to.
Basically, it's process queue. Like you have the dev meters, right? You have this process queue.
And yeah, yep, giving you a good walk.
So my question is, how security is maintained while downloading the packages?
That is the biggest advantage of taking these from the Ubuntu standard package managers, right? Because our canonical security team, whatever are the packages in main, already everybody knows that for 5.
I don't use app, sudo app, command if I use some other way for restoring the package,
Then how can we ensure its security?
means I'm using this RTM or something else package.
Well, RTM you can't install on Ubuntu. You can use a snap, you can use Ubuntu dev package.
I think he's talking about Debbie packages like .deb.
Yeah. So .deb packages, if they are part of Ubuntu archive, their security is our responsibility. So the security update, CV fixes, that will be provided for free for 5 years to everybody.
Also, it is like Docker, right? Where you go to a Docker page, they give you steps.
Images, yeah,
They let you add there.
correct.
If you add in the download page, Cascade is able to.
Yeah.
Because they are dev packages from third party, right? In Cascade,
Those we won't be able to secure. Yeah, good call. Thank you. Yes.
As Python developer, I just want to be thank you for the properties that you've created. But it's simply, it's like all the other tech stack, it all the goodies where I did stuff this stuck with versions in the arcade. Do you have plans to support multiple versions of Python integrated series so that we don't have to rely on external plug?
So multiple versions of Python support is actually going to be very soon on the roadmap. Not on 2604, but definitely on 2610. That was not a planted question. But yeah, and about the documentation, that's the thing. Python developers are not asking that much for documentation. They're all comfortable in the environment already. So we are focusing more on the Java, .NET, that part. Any other question? All right. That was good. That gave me some good feedback. I wanted to collect some electronically, but that is not going to happen. Is there any specific improvement like what Guru Prasad asked? that anybody has in mind, that I was trying to develop, I was trying to use this ID or that editor, and this is where I failed, or I tried to start using .NET on Ubuntu and I couldn't. Anything like that? Anybody else? All right.
I don't know if you or your team is responsible for this, but what about shipping language server notations and the good news?
For all the toolchains that we have, we are wherever it is missing. So like Rust language server, we recently added to a snap. Golang language server, we recently added to devpack for Golang. So the one way to look at is go to the snap store and search on devpack. Right now we have a devpack for Spring, devpack for Golang. Through that, such development tools will be delivered. Thank you. Yes.
Most of the times when I'm using Ubuntu, like any of the application in the output, but sometimes it gives me an application as Scarlet. Do you want to set the report to the Ubuntu?
Yeah.
Why does it happen most of the times?
So why are we asking you to send the information, or why does it fail most of?
First of all, like it feel like you go report like the code bug is working.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm asking. He's asking about why I have to set the bug report, or why the bug itself happens all.
Yeah, I know that why we have to send, but why it's a put
Because zero defect software is a myth. That's our clear answer, honestly. But yeah, that's where we have the community part is where that helps. And if you click on that, a bug gets created on Launchpad, and there are thousands and thousands of people who are looking at that. They vote. Others like you who have face that problem, they vote. Its priority increases, and then developers jump onto it.
Coming to that, every time I have to type password on the graph credit face. It should have like a sudo once you enter your password, it stays for the next certain two commands. But here, for each and every report, I have to enter password 8-bit. That is one.
Yeah, that's because we are using your bandwidth, we are using your information, so you want to confirm that you are sending.
It's not also there is one thing you want you should improve.
And okay.
Can I just add something to the answer about that? Please, Sam.
What your answer? Sorry, your answer for your question. Some of the information that are being sent also includes your stack pairs, which might involve some pattern to information. And that is why the possibility to buy.
It is simply
See the report that include your information, all the information about the system, about their application, the way you're using all those things. And that might have some consistency that you will become clear. So that is verified, that diversion is less that you verify, and then you use the password, and then it is.
So you set it up on some software that was a game, right? There's no information there. That's when you first enter the password. And then it happened on using some enterprise software where you entered personal data or any other password information. And that one is going to go without you knowing. That's the risk we want to avoid. That's the smart. Yeah.
So just on building on Guru's question, right? So for LSP servers, so I'm from cybersecurity community where I use certain less common languages and predominantly now rely on downloading Emacs LSP servers or some LSP servers. So if I need a LSP support for some skill language, what is the process for me to request for that?
So that will have to be a community request. And then Canonical as a business will have to decide whether it makes sense to spend effort on that. But ideal thing is to propose on the community, open a GitHub repo. If you have some starting thing, put it there, that's a general open source thing. And then others interested may join.
And I can also publish there
Yeah.
at the BPA or
Yeah. Not even just as a PP, as a new whole package in the archive. It will, if you convince a poor dev that that is a good package to have on Ubuntu, it will go in the main archive as well.
oh, right.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Just quickly, I mainly talked about the development environment and all, but here are some other key advantages of developing your software on Ubuntu. As we saw, a lot of cloud development is happening on Linux, and majority of that is happening on Ubuntu. So if you develop and test your software also on Ubuntu, that match reduces your post-delivery cost of bugs, because you are developing in a very, very similar environment as where it will be posted and deployed. Docker and Kubernetes performance, because Kubernetes gets built, canonical Kubernetes gets built with native kernel, so gives you the best performance on Ubuntu. Faster builds and fewer dependency issues. Sumanto talked about dependency hell on Debian. We are trying to solve through that. Snap is just a packaging solution, but if you are using standard Ubuntu main archive packages, those dependencies you don't need to worry about. They will get updated, they will get taken care of by the package manager. Excellent tooling for all major runtimes is my team's and my claim. If you have any feedback about that, I'm very happy to get that. And I don't think we have enough time, but I did put one line. Please go and look up chiseled container images. This is Ubuntu's way of doing minimal container images, having only those packages that you need to run your application, or having only those packages that you need to build and test your application. So just do a Google search. You will find those for .NET, for Java, for Python, and they are really, really very small. And for natively compiled languages like Rust and Golang, the base Ubuntu chiseled image itself works, and that is only 10 or 12 MB. And on top of that, just add your application binary. This is just when you later look at this, this is a summary of what we all talked about, why Ubuntu is leading in many of these categories. And that's it. One last chance. Any other questions?
So this chiseled containers size is then the Docker size.
Yes. And they can be run as Docker images.
Okay.
What we do is we just have for every package, every standard software package in Ubuntu, we have sliced it further. So JDK now has slices where internationalization is a separate slice, for example, right? The UX world, UI world, those SWT libraries is a separate slice. So you're building a running application that is backend only. You don't need all those parts of JRE, for example. So you will only take the parts of JRE that you need, and that will be much smaller than the standard 90 MB JRE size. And you add that on top of only those libraries that are needed to run the JRE. Remove man pages to remove all the other stuff that is not needed. For example, if you are deploying a Java application, you don't need the Python libraries by default. That way, a lot of things get reduced and the size is reduced. Size reduces not only storage and download advantage, but also lower attack surface. So it gives a big security advantage.
So we can get it the repository in the Ubuntu portalism.
Yeah. So Docker/Ubuntu are those chiseled images are available there. And plus, if you are an enterprise customer or if you are a pro licensee, there are more hardened images available in the pro repositories.
So in my home lab, if I want to test it, means
Just Docker/Ubuntu.
like
All right. Thank you so much for waiting for your lunch and letting me stand between you and your lunch. That's all from me. Thanks a lot. Oh, and I have some stickers if you want. Just catch me in the corridors.
not